Hey there, this is K4A, Knowledge for All educational videos and tutorials. Today we will see how and when you can use GML visual drag and drop block, which is called if variable. We were talking about variables a lot in previous videos, but for all of you who haven't watched those, variables are in short containers, boxes for information in your game engine, and that information can be number, text, string, object, instance, and so on. And the name variable is because that information can be changed depending on your game or different condition. And some of the most practical uses for variables are variables for health, like health points, score, ammunition, lives, and so on. So you want those values to change, like if player loses lives, then change that variable to -1 and so on. Or if player picks some kind of health pickup, then change the health variable to +20 and so on. So those are very important, and some of those variables are already defined in GameMaker Studio by GameMaker programmers. We were talking about those when we explained these instance variables like score, lives, health, and so on. So you can set and get that value, and you can ask GameMaker questions or make code based and decisions based on that question and the answer to condition, like if the score is greater than 50, go to next level, and so on. But all of those variables, as I just said, are pre-made for you. They are built in GameMaker, and although they can speed up your development process and make your games faster and so on, they won't probably be enough for your games, because as your games become more complex, you will need to define variables by yourself. So you need score, okay, health, lives, and so on. But as we saw in previous video, what for example, if you need variables for your enemies, like enemy health and zombie health, or boss health, or something like that, you cannot find them here. So you will be forced to declare a sign of variables, which we did in previous video, like zombie health, zombie, we said mana, like magic mana, but it can be zombie, I don't know, zombie, if zombies had some kind of weapon, it could be zombie weapon, zombie ammunition, zombie intelligence, and so on. So it's mostly used in RPG games. You will need lots of variables to define for all of those RPG information in RPG games, like intelligence, stamina, speed, magic this, magic that, and so on. So we have defined those variables, but by themselves they don't do anything on the screen, because we have to say to GameMaker to use them in specific way, and that's what we are going to do today. So all of this intro was to remind you and to make clear to all of you who are still confused what variables are, or when and why and how should I use them. Again, if you don't make complex games, or if you need only variables like score, health, lives, and so on, just use these instance variables. Use this if score, if health, if lives, and so on. It's already there, pre-built, pre-made for you, built-in variables. no big deal, and that's it, just use them. But if you need some custom information for your games, for your player, enemies, and so on, the more complex your game become, it will be more often for you to use those. So we have defined those variables for our enemy, zombie, object, obj, enemy, and that's all cool. But in our step event, which is checked every frame in our game, so it's like 30 or 60 frames or more per second. So GameMaker checks this condition here: is the score greater or equal than 20? If it is, then start chasing the player. So this will happen only if the score is greater than 20. But for example, if our game designer changes that or says, okay, this is called for the first level or something like that, but I want to make level 2 or 3 or so on where this will be disabled, I don't want to use that. I want to use instead what? I want to use instead this information, zombie health. I want my zombie here to chase the player only if he is healthy and has health more than 50, like for example 50 or more. So only then chase him, but I cannot do with my score variable. I will have to use my zombie health variable. So to find this custom zombie health variable and to use it, I will have to use this block if variable. So if variable block, and that block is one of the common blocks, so just click and drag it like this, and yeah, we're already in problem. Why? Because I dragged it like this below my if score, and immediately it becomes a part of this condition. I don't want to do that. I want that to be out of it, but you see how it's simply to get confused or your code messy and buggy, and this is what I don't like at this visual coding style in GameMaker specifically. For example, I can find it much easier in Scratch to see this problem. So if I want to make this condition, if variable, specific variable alone, I would have to drag it away, but this doesn't work like this, so I would have to drag it like this below. I want to say, okay, go below. Yeah, I think this will be more visible now. I want to go below this if score, so now you can see it's below. So not like this, but like this, and sometimes you will do this by accident, like this, or like this. So that's why I don't like GameMaker visual coding style, one of the reasons. And also I was explaining that earlier to you, it's much more easier if you experiment just to go above your code like this, go above, and now that's all cool. So you can see I have some condition here, if variable, and it's empty. It doesn't have anything in it, so I want to add some code to say, okay, if this condition is true, then do something, read some code and execute some code. But I don't have the condition, and I also don't have the code. So let's do one thing step by step, one then another. As I said here, I want to use this zombie health value. That is my variable, my custom variable, so I will copy paste it, or you can type it if you want. It's easier for me to select it like this and press Ctrl C on my keyboard, and then go to my step event, if variable, which variable I want to use. I want to use this one, zombie health. So what do I want to say? I want to say if this zombie's health is, for example, greater or equal than 50, and how much my health is valued at the start. It's 50, so this will start right away. Then do what? Then set point direction and set speed. That means chase the player. Okay, set point direction. I have to put it into it like this, and set the speed. Copy, paste it, and put it here below. I will disable this old just to avoid any kind of problems. So again, what I have done here, I have set my zombie check condition to I was coding in my obj enemy and my obj zombie to check what? If the variable zombie health, which is custom variable defined here at the create event, is it greater or equal than 50? And if it is, and this will happen only if it is greater or equal than 50. If it's like 40 or 30, GameMaker doesn't care. This will not be executed. So if it is greater or equal than 50, start chasing the player. And because my zombie starts with this value 50, that should happen right away from the start. So previously we had the condition to check when the player collects all of those coins, then start chasing him, but now it should start right away. So my zombie should start chasing the player. Yeah, so it works. So you can see how it's easy to use these custom variables, same as those pre-built, pre-made from GameMaker, and you can use them with this condition: if variable, then do something, check some code, run some code, and so on. So for example, now my game designer says, okay, it doesn't make sense that a zombie starts chasing the player right away, so maybe put instead of 50 is the starting health for zombie, say when it's 60 or more. So for example, only if my zombie is really strong, like maybe even more, like 70 or 80 or something like that, so then he feels confident and then start chasing the player. So when we read this code now, we can see that our game starts with zombie health of 50 and condition is if the zombie health is 70. So this now changes to zombie not chasing the player. It will chase the player only if the zombie health is 70 or so. So you see now he doesn't care. Zombie doesn't care because he knows he should chase the player only if he's 70 or more health points strong. So that's how you can add almost infinite number of conditions and tests and make your enemies or player or NPCs really smart and interesting, and giving them lots of options, but that also becomes really messy, fast and tricky, and as you can see, really crazy when you use this visual coding style. So for example, I can add I can say, for example, here if a variable, again same thing, same drag and drop block, but I will use now again same variable, but to check something else. I will check here if my zombie health is less or equal than 0, that means my zombie doesn't have more energy, then I will destroy him. So you see how it's fast. Using the same blocks and using the same variables, custom variables like zombie health, I can add different type of conditions and condition checks and codes, and that way I can make my characters and enemies really complex and do different kind of things on the screen: die, chase, speed up, slow, and so on. So possibilities are endless, and for example in this case my zombie health cannot go less than 0 because I haven't coded yet how zombie will lose health with what kind of interaction or shooting or player hitting him or whatever. So we will do that in some of the next videos, but so far again just try to think about variables like some kind of containers where you put information in them and then later use them by get, set, checking the condition if that variable is greater than or less than or equal than some value, then run some code, do some stuff for me. And as we saw before, some of those variables like health and score and so on, they are already in it for you from GameMaker, so don't get confused by that. And you can see even this icon if variable here, which is if variable meaning custom variable, is almost the same as this if health and if score, because the principle behind it is the same. The only difference is here is that health variable is already defined by GameMaker, and score and lives and so on, but these variables, zombie health, zombie mana and so on, were made by us. They are custom and we needed them for our game, and that's it. Also, if you want to create variables for your, I think I was talking about that earlier, but once again, if you want to define variables for your player, just go ahead and drag this assign variable and again add as many as you want, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you don't have to use these pre-made health, score and something like that. You can define custom variables like, for example here, name, instead of health I will call it player underscore health, and I will put value 100, then player lives and so on, value 3, and later if you need those you can use them, if you don't need them just delete them and so on. But I just wanted to show you how it's easy to define custom variables and then later use this if condition, and oops, it doesn't let it go for some reason, and yeah, so that's it for this video. See you in next one. Variables are really important concept in every game engine and development in general, so experiment with those, with custom variables, with built-in variables. We will talk about them and some other there are other types of those also in next videos. See you then, and thanks for watching.